Good morning and welcome to our annual Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. I'm Richard Johnson. I'm the one that can't talk very well tonight, and that's a first for me. But I'm glad you're all here. This is one of the highlights of our athletic year when we bring back our all-time greatest athletes that have entertained us for years on the fields and the courts, and we have an extraordinary group today of not just former athletes who are deserving of induction, but supporters who have been very loyal to the college and have been among some of the college's best friends for many, many years. As our current practice, we would like for all of our Hall of Fame members to stand, please, so you can be recognized. And we appreciate you coming. A special thanks to our Terrier Club president, Jeff Sarvis, who chaired the Hall of Fame selection committee. Jeff, thank you. Great job. A little bit about the Hall of Fame committee. It is maybe the toughest room I've ever been in. They are no nonsense. When somebody nominates an individual, they are very zealous in protecting the Hall of Fame, the integrity of it. If you're in the Wofford College Hall of Fame and you pass muster of that committee, you are deserving. Because a lot of people write in and they say, well, this is someone who should be considered. But the standards that committee holds everyone to are very demanding, and rightly so. So the gentleman behind us and lady, they are certainly worthy of induction into this very close-knit and elite society. Our first one, I'm going to introduce our basketball coach. To introduce him, he's not with us right now, and I'll let Mike tell you about him. But one thing about Brad Loesing, for years, when Mike Young and I coached together, the joke around the Southern Conference was, you guys are recruiting a point guard every year, aren't you? Because we never found one we liked. And I kept telling Mike, I said, this is what I want. I want a kid, and I've described him. And I said, he's in the Midwest. I want somebody who's smarter than the both of us. And that shouldn't have been hard to find. Someone who's going to be a leader on the court, someone who's going to know what to do and make us look good. And for years, Mike never found that person for me. But then the minute he became the head coach, he found that person for himself. So Mike, come on up and talk about one of my favorite players, Brad Loesing.
I'm not a big microphone guy. I've got my coaching voice going now that we started practice, so I'm going to walk and talk if that's okay. First, a little background on how he got here. Los, as I affectionately referred to him for many years. I gravitate to those guys in the summer in the AAU circuit that I enjoy watching play, and that I enjoyed watching his team play. They were terrific. And there's this guy playing the point, 5'11", not very big, not very athletic, got big bulky ankle braces, doesn't jump very high. I took an assistant over to see him, and kind of, Coach, I'm not sure, but whatever you think. There's something about Brad Loesing in that summer before coming to Wofford. His team always won. They won every game I saw them play, and I saw them play a lot. And he never turned the ball over, ever. Turned it over a couple of times here, and he was such a competitive guy that he would run the floor and he would tackle the guy without it being an intentional foul. I was really struggling with, are we going to bring him in? And I caught a great friend at his rival high school in Cincinnati, Carl Kramer at Moeller. Terrific coach and a wonderful man. And I'm going through all the pros and cons, and he stops me mid-sentence and he says, wait a second, Mike, you're overcomplicating this thing. Take him. He's unbelievable. and that he was. The picture of student athlete, Phi Beta Kappa graduate of Wofford, first team academic All-American during his senior year. The catalyst, and there were a number, but Loes had as much to do with it as anyone. I'll never forget a long, lonely, cold night after a win. I think we were coming back from Statesboro. And Brad is reading a book. It's the biggest book I've ever seen in my life. And he had a difficult semester, I recall him saying. And it's about 1 in the morning, and I'm going to walk through the bus just to stretch a little bit. And there's one light on in the back of the bus. And I walk back, and it's Brad with his light on. He's got his little blue St. X blanket around him, and he is devouring this gargantuan book. And I said, gosh sakes, Loes, what book is that class for? Oh no, Coach, it's not for a class. I'm reading this for pleasure. I walked back to the front of the bus and picked up my latest issue of Sports Illustrated. He helped us win a lot of games, but I'm telling you, as much fun to coach, as much fun to be around, and his contributions here academically, as a basketball player, and as a citizen on this campus were unparalleled. He was wonderful, and I will always consider it an incredible pleasure to have had something to do with him being here and for his contributions during his time at Wofford. Thank you very much. Thank you, Pal.
I need to start by thanking my family, first and foremost. Without them, like I said, I wouldn't be here. And I'll start my mother, my fan since day one, my #1 fan. And she'll let everyone know it, no matter how far she's from the court. So thank you, Mom, for everything. My father, who taught me and my siblings to do what is right and not what is easy. And that has made me into the man I am today. And I can't tell you how grateful I am for that. My big brother, Rick, made me cry day after day after day growing up by beating me countless times in the backyard. And if I would have known how much I would have learned through that, I'd probably hug him instead of cry in his face and throw the ball at him. So thank you to my big brother, to Adam, Mackenzie, and Anna, my other siblings, who've always believed in their big brother and supported me. I love you guys for it, and all the sacrifices you made for me. Those summers going on basketball vacations instead of real ones, I appreciate it. So my family, you don't know how much you mean to me. Without you guys, I'm not here, and I didn't accomplish this. So thank you. I love you guys. I guess I'll move on to all the coaches that have taught me countless things to bring me here, especially the coaches here at Wofford College that I had. You did so much for me, taught me a lot of things as a basketball player, as a man. And it starts with the man, no myth, only legend, Coach Mike Young. Thank you for the opportunity you gave me to be at Wofford College. I didn't know it at the time, but it's one of the best decisions I made as a young man, and thank you. Not only amazing coach, but a mentor, both then and now. So thank you, Coach, for everything. Everyone at Wofford, administration, staff, so many people go into this place that do countless things they're not recognized for, and I'm very thankful for all of you and all that you do for all the student athletes, past and present. So thank you. And of course, some of the most important people, my teammates. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, all of your names should be standing with mine and everyone else's in the Hall of Fame. All that we've been through, we did it together. Nothing is accomplished alone, and yeah, without you guys, there's no Hall of Fame. There's no Hall of Famers. So, you know, in my book, you guys, my teammates, my brothers, you're the true Hall of Famers, and I love you guys for it. You know, as a kid, you dream of accomplishing things, winning championships, achieving goals, and you know, growing up, you work for those things. And I've been blessed to learn that through a lot of hard work, sacrifices, perseverance, and support from the people around you, you can accomplish almost anything. I guess the simplest thing to say in closing is that I'm undoubtedly and immensely proud to be a Wofford Terrier. Thank you very much.
This guy, Eric Breitenstein, phenomenal player. A guy that rushed for over a mile, 5,000 plus yards. A guy that put fear into every defensive coordinator that ever faced Wofford during his reign. And he's one of those guys, he was a coach's dream. He was a guy that no matter what the day, the situation, whether it was rainy, whether it was cold, whether it was hot, whether it was practice, no matter what the situation, he was a guy that brought his lunch pail and he worked. A lot of people say, gosh, what a great player, what a great player, what a great player. Well, the reason he's a great player is because he had great work ethic. He was never satisfied. He was never satisfied. There was days that he would rush for over 300 yards and say, gosh, coach, I missed that one cut. And I'd look at him and I'd say, that's all right, pick it up next time. But he had the ability, the God-given ability to be that fullback guy for Wofford. We run a unique offense, and I know that a lot of you folks out there believe that we ought to throw it more. Can't do it. Not when you have an opportunity every time to hand it to a guy like him and possibly go 100 yards. You look at him now and he's got that long beard. I thought he was born with it, quite frankly, when we started recruiting him. He's got an unbelievable family. He's got people that you knew from the get-go loved him, led him, guided him, and directed him to be a great man. He's a tremendous player. Just read his stats. But the thing of it is, he's an unbelievable person. He's a guy, he's one of my guys. He's one of my guys. I've coached thousands of them now. I've got, 3 children, 5 grandchildren of my own, but I've got that extended family. And he's one of my guys. I love him to death. I love his family. I love his wife. He was put on this earth to do great things, and football is not the only thing. I can't believe this. He's smart enough to do anything, but he wants to coach football. Last night, they had a game, and he decided, I'm going to coach the game and then come. So he coaches the game, he told me in the lobby, he said, "Coach, you'd be disappointed in me." I said, "I'd never be disappointed in you." He said, "I had to leave after the third quarter to catch the plane." I said, "You got to do what you got to do." I love him. My wife loves him. My sons love him, or my son loves him. My daughters love him. He's just that type of guy. Leadership skills, out the roof. Attitude, effort, intensity, character, out the roof. I'd like to have him today. I know you still know 18, Goose, Gator. I love that guy. Come on up. Can you imagine? Can you imagine having him back in the backfield? That's my dream. That's my dream.
Oh, I am going to use the microphone, maybe. Okay. Thank you, Coach Ayers. Thank you for the kind words. It's really good to be here, honestly. But I'm afraid you don't really want me out there. I'm one play, stumbling and falling forward. That's all.
Don't believe it.
Okay. I'd also like to thank Richard Johnson and the athletic department. It truly is an honor to be back here. In this magnificent new building. Are you kidding me, Wofford? This is unbelievable. I'm humbled to stand before you on this day at Wofford College. This is my second home. And as some of you know, that means a lot coming from me. You see, I lived my entire life in one house, in one small town in North Carolina. I grew up on a long, winding dirt road, literally over the river and through the woods. I had the perfect place to grow up, 118 acres of river to fish, fields to play in, and woods to explore. Home One was an incredible place to be. And no matter where I'd been, a family vacation, a football camp, a baseball tournament, kind of like Brad said, those sports vacations, there was one thing that always meant home to me. It was the sound of the tires crunching gravel on that long dirt road. To this day, that sound always evokes an emotional and a physical reaction. It starts with a feeling in my stomach, and it tightens, and then it wells up into my chest. And by the time I bounce across our wooden bridge, I have goosebumps spreading all over my arms, just like I am right now. It starts, this reaction, it only has ever happened at one other place. It starts as my tires straighten up onto North Church Street, and by the time I turn left on Evans, the goosebumps have set in, and I know I'm home again. And home is more than just a place. It takes special people to make you feel at home. As you can see here today, I did grow up with special people. So, starting by thanking them. I'd like to thank my mother, Sharon, for the muscle structure and for the love of education. For my father, Steve, for tripping me as I learned to walk. Yes, that actually happened. And the passion that he gave me to drive for every sport. Okay. My sister, Amy, for the unconditional support, even though we're many years apart and we lived in different areas. You made the journey every year to come see me. And for my brother, Seth, for casting a shadow that I had to fight to get out of. I'd also like to thank my aunts and uncles and cousins who committed to being a traveling fan club across the Southeast. This group was skillfully led by my Aunt Donna, who's here today, and the Templetons. I'd also like to thank my wife and my new family that I was fortunate enough to marry into. All of these people have served as my parents, supports, guides, motivators, healers, caretakers, educators. All of these people made my home a home. And Wofford became a home because it checks all those same boxes. I developed a family here because this place is filled with people that make a place a home. So, to the coaches. I thank Coach Ayers and the entire staff for giving me a chance and developing me into the player and person I became. Jack Teegee, who's also here today, for finding me in the sticks of North Carolina. Wade Lang, the mad genius behind the unstoppable offense. Eric Nash for the best offensive line in the country. Aaron Johnson for leading our backfield, and Hall of Famer Dane Romero, who, while a player at the time, was the one who showed me how it should be done. All of my coaches are motivators, guides, and educators. They are all men that any kid in the country would be lucky to learn from and model after. Thank you to my teammates, the guys that poured out the blood and sweat and tears that made it possible for us to have the wild successes on the field. Our backfield that pushed me to be better. The QBs and wideouts that took the heat off and gave us so many weapons. Of course, a huge thank you has to go to the offensive line that dominated the poor defenses that had to go up against us day in and day out. You guys are my siblings. You're the ones that pushed me and supported me in the classroom, out on the field. You're actually guys that lived with me and put up with me in a tiny dorm room, whether it was ice cold or sweltering hot, depending on if we froze the air conditioning or not. And we've been through some stuff. You guys are my brothers. I'd also like to thank the athletic trainers who had me on a strict regimen of prehab, ice baths, and rehab, who got me healthy and ready to go from everything from bruises to a sprained shoulder to torn up knees, but also kept it light with our Nerf battles in the training room. You guys were the healers. Thank you to the athletic department. Coach Johnson, you and your staff do an incredible job handling hundreds of student athletes over 18 sports. You make sure that we all feel supported, we all have a place on this campus. This is obvious to me simply by the fact that we athletes could bump into you anywhere on campus, and you know our names, you know our families, and you genuinely care about us. You guys are caretakers. I know there are families that function without a mother figure, but I'm not sure I survived Wofford College without two women that looked out for me. They were a sounding board for me. They also just organized the heck out of my life between athletics, academics, advisory committees, all the stuff that I got into for whatever reason while I was here. So thank you, a special thank you to Tracy Wilson and Elizabeth Rabb. You guys were my moms away from home. What an honor it is to be recognized with these guys today. I'm going to start off with Brad Loesing, my Nomi, a leader in the classroom, the community, and the court for 2 NCAA tournament berths. Wow, and he's still playing. One of us is still athletic. It's impressive, okay? Mac Doyle, the real reason I never parked my car on Memorial Drive. So some people complained that it was a long walk to the dorms, others that it was like not inside the Wofford bubble, the Wofford gates. I just wanted to make sure Mac didn't put a hole in my windshield with a home run. And then last but certainly not least, my teammate, the Canadian quarterback assassin, Ameet Pall. On the field, I couldn't escape him. No SoCon quarterback could escape him. But then off the field, he couldn't escape me because I just followed him and majored the same thing he majored in, and took every class with John Lane, right? So congratulations, gentlemen. The honor is well deserved. Finally, I'd like to thank all the members of the Wofford Terrier Club. As some of you may know, I'm the son of 2 public school teachers. My parents made sure that their children wanted for nothing, but paying for college is a big deal to our family. The members of the Terrier Club made it possible for me to come here, to get an incredible education, and to wear the old gold and black. In fact, one member being honored here tonight, Mr. Joe Edens, is the reason, as I was the recipient of the Michael Edens Endowed Scholarship Award. So a specific thank you to the Edens family, but thank you to the entire Terrier Club for making it possible for me and so many of our athletes to come here to Wofford and receive a top-notch education, meet lifelong friends, and in my case, a wife, my wife. Thank you for the opportunity. Now, Reagan and I have joined the Terrier Club, and we're modest givers as we get our lives started, and again, that whole educators thing. But please know how much it means to both of us that we were given the opportunity to represent this school. It's our job now to make sure that the next generation of terriers have the same opportunity. I am humbled by this honor, and by all of you who have meant so much to my academic and athletic endeavors. This place has become a home, and it's the people that make that true. Thank you, and go Terriers.
I guess I'll be the one coach to use the microphone because we know Mike won't use it the second time around as he comes back up. Baseball is one of the few sports where your success is determined by the men around you. No one person can do everything, if you want to be successful at this level, just do one thing: be the best teammate you can be. We didn't read that in a book. We didn't come from some former Major League Baseball player. That is Mac Doyle's words back to his future teammates that he never had as he talks to our team through a quote that we put on the locker room. How Mac got here was 100% credited to Gus White, who's sitting here today. We recruited Gus out of Columbia. Gus comes on his second visit, commits very early in the visit. We're out at Copper River Grill having a good meal, sitting around not really talking much recruiting anymore because the decision's been made. And he just kind of says what seems random. I'm assuming he did it on purpose. You know, the one guy who I'm surprised isn't committed yet is that Mac Doyle kid. Wait a minute. Mac Doyle, the catcher from the Diamond Devils that you played with 2 years ago that was slamming balls all over our field with a wood bat at 15 years old? Yeah, that Mac Doyle. Give me his number. We'll offer him right now. It was that simple. We left Copper River Grill that night. I called Mac for the first time, and 2 months later, he committed to be a Terrier. Mac talked about being a teammate. Obviously, that speaks for him being a teammate with Gus in high school through a travel ball team. But nothing shows being a better teammate than committing to David Roney's bachelor party, which is a 34-mile hike in and out of the Grand Canyon, which somehow Mac decided to go with him, and in his words, almost didn't make it out to be here today. How that's a bachelor party, David, none of us will ever understand. And how you agreed to it is even doubly troubling. Mac was somebody you could count on for all 4 years. His records are astounding. There have been people here that have put up good seasons. You don't need to know much about baseball to let this sink in. Mac is in the top 5 career leaders in the following categories: games, starts, at-bats, runs, hits, which he is first, RBIs, which he is first, doubles, triples, home runs, total bases, which he is first, walks, hit by pitches, and of course, Mac's favorite, strikeouts. And I promise he will mention that at some point during today. One of our 3 All-Americans in 2010, he was the anchor of one of the best offensive teams we've ever had. Hit .377, 23 doubles, 16 home runs, and 75 RBIs, which is a single season record. We inducted Brandon a few years ago, Brandon Waring, who had the single season record for RBIs at 74. The astounding thing is Brandon did it in 63 games, Mac did it in 55. When the conversation came up about this athletic class, Brent Williamson came to me and said, "Mac Doyle, Hall of Fame?" And I just looked and said, "Are you kidding me?" Absolutely. Congratulations, Mac.
Thanks, Coach I. You know, I think it's really beneficial that we're doing this 5 years after my career, so he's already forgotten about all the bad stuff and just left that behind. So, you know, I'm not big on talking about myself, and Coach I hit on it. You know, I'm here today because of the people around me and the people who supported me along the way, and I'm going to try not to get emotional. But I'm going to start with the 2 most important, and that's my parents, Neil and Melanie Doyle. I'm an only child, so all their time was spent on me and focused on me, and you know, I can't even begin to understand the sacrifices they've made for me, and I probably won't until I have kids of my own one day. But they were the best support system that a son could ask for, and they did it in unique ways. You know, my mom was the spiritual guidance. She mentally made sure I was okay after a lot of bad outings. I did strike out a lot. And I'm sure I'll be in the record books for that for a while. But she was always there. There was never a bad game that I didn't come back to my phone and had an inspirational text message or a piece of scripture. And then my dad was the much more practical support. When things were bad, he told me why and how to fix it. And when things were good, he told me to keep up what I was doing. So thank you guys both very much for that. A couple other individuals here today that I want to thank is my girlfriend Danny and her mom Brenda. Fortunately, they didn't have to endure my career at Wofford and the ups and downs, but they've been an outstanding support system for me since they've come into my life. My cousin Doc and his fiancee Courtney. He may not know the story, but he's actually the reason I played baseball, and when I was 7 years old, I saw Doc play in the Dix Youth World Series, and I looked up at my dad, and I was like, man, I have to get one of those uniforms. And that's how my career started. You know, next group of guys, and some of them made it today, and, you know, I mentioned earlier I'm an only child. When I walked on campus the first day, young guy, limited vocabulary, no siblings, and I walked into a family. And those guys throughout my entire career and even after have held me accountable. They pushed me both in the classroom and on the field, and I really, I wouldn't be up here today without those guys, and I really appreciate the support. And then last but not least is the administration, the coaches, the Wofford Terrier Club, the Hall of Fame committee. Thank you for teaching me, for coaching me, for training me, for punishing me when I needed to be punished, and just for the opportunity to come up here and have this honor. You guys really helped shape my life, and that has helped me become the man I am today, and I'm truly grateful. So thank you.
Our next Hall of Fame guy is our only Canadian player ever. Ameet Pall. I'll tell you the truth, I really couldn't tell you exactly how he got here. I don't know if he drove, if it was by bus, train, or plane. I think it was plane, yeah, okay. And Ameet is one of those guys that he was an old soul even as a young guy. And Ameet was one of those guys that you look at on film. He was twitchy. He had great bend. For you people that don't understand what twitchy is, it's quickness, and great bend is you get down low and you can tilt and you can turn and you can rush the passer. And we said, golly, look at this guy. Up in Canada, their field is a little bit wider and a little bit longer. And we saw Ameet on film. We said, we got to get this guy down here and make him a short-haired dog. And so we bring him in, and I looked at him first time, and I said, you look bigger on film. And if you've ever spoken with Ameet, he's got that personality, he's got that bubble about him, he's got that connection factor right there. And so, long story short, we had a good weekend. We're fortunate enough, blessed enough to get him to Wofford, and the next thing you know, we found out that we hit gold. Before his career was over, he owned just about every record that we had from a defensive standpoint. He was a first-team All-American. He was the Southern Conference Defensive Player of the Year. And probably the biggest compliment you can get as a player is this. Everybody that went against Wofford in his career while he was there, they had one question to ask. How in the heck are we going to stop him? That's just the way that he was. If you look at him, you say, I don't know. But the thing of it is, all you're seeing is the outside. The great thing about Ameet Pall is the inside. He had a warrior heart. He had a mind for the game. He had a mind for life. He had a mind for people. He cared. No matter how many times he was written up in the paper, how many awards that he won, he was still the same humble guy. I love Ameet. I love him just like I love Eric. And the thing that I know for sure is this, that when he was here, he did the best that he could, not for himself, but for his teammates and for Wofford. He's a great man. A great man. He was a great player. He may not look like the total package, but he was. Ameet.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. First off, I'd like to congratulate Eric Breitenstein, Mac Doyle, Joe Edens, Brad Loesing, Stewart Johnson, Buddy and Shirley Kirby for their outstanding career and their services to Wofford. So my dad's here. He's sitting over there, and it's the first time that he's come to Wofford, and I felt like a kid in a candy store, just showing him around and introducing him to my old professors and coaches, and you know, this place has changed so much. I can't believe that this place is unreal, and we're just so glad to be here and to be back. I just want to start off by thanking my family. They have never missed, especially my mom and dad, they have never missed a football registration payment since I was 9 years old. And I always had the latest cutters on my hands and Nikes on my feet. And you know what they say, you look good, you feel good, you play good. So it's thanks to them. It's thanks to them. Second, to be honest with you guys, my job was easy here at Wofford. When you got guys like Alex Goltree, Alvin Ciano, Eric Eberhardt, Mike Nyam, Mike McCrimmon, Blake Wiley, the list goes on. I mean, my job was easy. Those guys were getting double teamed, and I was just sliding through in there, and you know, I was just happy to be there and make plays for the team and stuff like that. One thing I realized over the years is, am I talking too low, by the way? Are you guys hear me? You were good? Okay. So I find out a couple of things. You know, I'm 30 years old now, and life's all about taking chances and opportunity. And you guys took a short-legged, hardly 5'11", half French, half Indian from Canada. All right? You guys went far to get me. And I wouldn't think I'd be sitting here today. I'll tell you guys a little story. When I was back home, a buddy of mine who was my trainer said, "Come out to this camp with me out in Kitchener, Ontario, way up in Canada." And he said, "Yeah, come out to this camp. You know, we're gonna have a good time." I didn't want to go, and finally he convinced me to go. So we went there. There was a bunch of U.S. coaches, and the dream back home is to play down south. That's what you want to do, and we get there, there's a bunch of coaches there, and I had a great camp, and I asked one of the coaches, "Hey, is it possible, you know, if you guys look at me for any U.S. scholarships or something like that?" He said, "Yeah, but you're a bit small." So I said, "Okay, all right, no problem." So fast forward a couple years, I had a great career at Vanier, and then I sent my highlight to Coach Tichy to Wofford, and he looked at it. You know, it's pretty good, but you know, he's from Canada, not quite sure. And you know, how's he going to get in academically? They don't, you know, they don't even go by ABCDs. They got numbering systems up there. It's weird. And so he gets on the phone with a couple of his buddies, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm recruiting this guy from Canada. Oh yeah, what's his name? Is Ameet. Oh, did he play at Vanier? Yeah, he played at Vanier. You got to get him because I'd love to take him, but he's just too small." So that kind of solidified my scholarship here at Wofford. And just to come full circle, Coach Rias, you guys know Coach Rias. He's the D-line coach here at Wofford. He came up to me. I came up on Thursday with my dad. He came up to me. He's like, "Yeah, you know, I was one of those coaches that called Coach Tichy because I was up there at that camp at Kitchener, Ontario." So I was amazed. I was like, "Wow, you know, back for Hall of Fame weekend, everything kind of came full circle." So I didn't know who those coaches were. I was just so happy to get the opportunity. I would just like to say, without Coach Ayers' wisdom, without Coach Tichy's guidance, I mean, I went to go see Coach Tichy every single day, just to not even talk about football, just talk about anything, just whatever, crack up, just anything. And without Dr. Lefebvre's help academically, I wouldn't have been able to do any of this, let alone, I mean, this is just unreal. And I'm just so happy to be here, and you guys have made a man out of me, and I love every single one of you guys. Thank you so much, and let's get a win this afternoon.
I've known Joe Edens for over 2 decades, and I consider him one of my mentors, a great friend, a tremendous leader, a great father, a great role model. Joe Edens was a guy that came into my life when times were a little hard. The passing of my father left a void, and Joe Edens filled that void. We had opportunities to go fishing, and when the fish aren't biting, you do a lot of talking. And we talked. We talked about families, we talked about life, we talked about football, we talked about a lot of things. And I consider him a great friend. I call him Papa Bear. I love him for his friendship, for his support. I love his family. He is a tremendous man. His success is unparalleled, and he is a fighter. He's been struggling. Several months ago, we wasn't quite sure how things were going to turn out for him. I went down and saw him in the hospital, and didn't look too good. And we talked a little bit, and he said, well, I said to him, you got to keep battling, you got to keep fighting. He said, don't worry about that. He said, I'm a fighter. Don't worry about that. Well, by the grace of God, things have turned. His health is better. And I am so proud to introduce Joe Edens to the Wofford Hall of Fame. Thank you.
I kind of get a little bit emotional when it comes to my feelings toward Mike Ayers as well. He talked about coming down to visit with me when I was getting over a little period of time in the ICU, and it took him all of 4 hours from the time he knew I was in a regular room recovering to walk in the door, and that meant more to me than you can imagine. Thank you for your introduction and the kind words. I can tell you why Richard's voice is a little bit weak. It's because I'm answering my questions over the phone, maybe a few times too many, so I apologize, Richard. I thank everybody that was involved on the committee of the Athletic Hall of Fame for the selection and for including me with this great honor. Also, I think it would be remiss if we didn't mention Dr. Ben Wofford, who in 1850, upon his death, left a sizable sum of money so that this school could hopefully go forward. And in 1854, Wofford began receiving students that were ingrained with all the right stuff. My admiration and support of this school probably goes further back than most anybody here. It began in 1951 when I was 10 years old, and my father was serving on the Wofford board for a period of time, and through his service, I was able to gain a lot of insight as to what this school was actually all about. What it tried to do was not only give the best education possible to its students, but it really put forth the effort to have developed a culture that exists today that's only grown over the years, and helping the alumni of Wofford prepare themselves for what lies ahead once their time at Wofford has been completed in their academic activities as well as their athletic activities. To prepare for the daily challenges that we have come our way from time to time is not always easy for a lot of people that come out of a lot of institutions of higher learning. But I found that the culture, some of the things that are so deeply ingrained are confidence. A Wofford alumni has confidence, but coupled with that, they maintain humility. They have integrity, and they have ambition to succeed in anything they want to do. Failure is not something that comes very easy to an alumni of this fine school. I've had the pleasure in my life of working with many, many, many Wofford alumni, and they all seem to have the same sort of cut of cloth that would rival maybe being known as the Wofford way or as a brotherhood. As I mentioned, when my father was on the board, and I really began to get a little bit excited at 10. It's not too too easy to do when you're dealing with just trying to keep from getting the belt put to you behind every once in a while. My father took us all to the 4th annual Shriners Cigar Bowl game on New Year's Day in Tampa, Florida, where our Terriers took on Florida State University. We didn't win the game. We played very well, but there were an awful lot of Wofford supporters that had made the trip to see that game, including then our state's governor, Strom Thurmond, and his wife, Jean. What you did then as a fan to cheer was not wave a white handkerchief, but you had actual pennant with a stick that you held up that had the Wofford colors, name on it, and the insignia. There were many of those evidence in the bleachers. I was fortunate to be one of them along with the rest of my family. I was thrilled when my youngest son, Michael, decided in 1994 he wanted to play football for Coach Ayers. And having the knowledge that the school and its programs were truthfully for the student athlete and not for the athlete student, I felt like Michael had made a tremendous decision. And during his 4 years, I witnessed firsthand a continuing understanding of the culture that was in place in this school and has become, as I said earlier, more entrenched than ever before. One thing I want to share is after Michael's first week of his initial first-year preseason football practice, my wife and I, Michael's mom, were allowed with other parents to come visit their sons for a while on Sunday afternoon. As we were coming down Church Street, several blocks before the main entrance to the campus at the time, there was this group of young boys, and those young boys were being led by Coach Ayers and his staff to Sunday morning church services. Carolyn and I looked at each other and simultaneously pretty well said, well, he really did make the right decision. We knew Wofford was a great school. I knew it. I'd known it for a long time, but I really got to know what the leadership really consisted of when the head football coach takes his entire team to church on Sunday morning. I attended a citadel at the urging of my father, who believed I was in need of the military discipline at the time. I would have perhaps been a Wofford alumni as well. But knowing the rivalry that existed between the Terriers and the Bulldogs was not exactly what was tearing at my heartstrings, but nonetheless, I had little choice but to agree with what my father was pretty adamant about me doing. During that period of time, which was in the 60s, late 50s, the game was played in a neutral stadium, which happened to be one that was located next to the Orangeburg Fairgrounds in Orangeburg, South Carolina, with a train track that ran right by it, and it had a rail spur that went into the Citadel campus. And on the day of the game, roughly 2,000 cadets from the Citadel would get on that train early in the morning and head to Orangeburg for the game with Wofford College. When Wofford played the Citadel during Michael's playing fullback, and they were playing in Charleston at Johnson Haggett Stadium, Michael scored 2 touchdowns by, I don't know who invented the leap over the line of scrimmage into the end zone, but anyway, Michael scored 2 touchdowns, and he said to himself that he shared with me after the game, "That's for you, Dad." So he knew I had dressed with the colors of both schools, the blue and gray and the black and the gold. Well, I can promise you that blue and gray came off real quick, and that black and gold stood out. And I have been probably way more terrier than I have Citadel Bulldogs for an awful long time. In closing, I have been blessed with having 6 grandchildren, and I'm so hopeful that they all may be given the benefit of the Wofford experience. Again, I thank you for this great honor. Thank you, Coach Ayers. Thank you, everyone who has been so very nice and accommodating to yours truly, to my family, and to my son. Thank you.
I'm not a coach, I'm just a president, so I'll stand here behind the microphone. I don't have a voice like those coaches. There are always great days during the course of an academic year, certainly when we welcome students to the college and after 4 years when we send them on their way. And during the course of the year when we honor students and alumni. And this is one of those days. And this is a special day because these young men honored today, our student athletes honored routinely at the Hall of Fame event, signify, reflect what is so special about this extraordinary college. One of the smallest Division I schools, a residential liberal arts college with student athletes competing with institutions far larger and competing successfully, getting an extraordinary education and graduating to go on and do extraordinary things. And they do so with a profound sense of humility. And thanks to those who have made it possible. I think about the coaches and the coaching staff and their families. And that's very special. That makes us extraordinarily special in the constellation of institutions in collegiate athletics, and we should be very proud of that, and I am. Of course, it's possible too because of the great support of friends and alumni of the college. And so I'm honored to stand here and introduce Stewart Johnson, class of 1967, who we can say checks all the boxes. He's loyal, he travels with the Terriers wherever he can, he understands the commitment that Wofford student athletes make to their education and their teams. He has unselfishly supported the Terrier Ball from the very beginning. He has funded endowed scholarships. He gives annually and is an outspoken advocate of the benefits of combining a liberal arts educational experience with the profound and enduring lessons learned through collegiate athletics. For Stewart Johnson, who is chairman of the Morgan Corporation and a member of the Wofford College Board of Trustees, love and support for the Wofford Terriers is a family affair. His lovely wife, Ann Cobb Johnson, who has also served as a Wofford trustee, cheers just as loudly, in fact, more loudly, for the Terriers. They have 4 grown children, 3 of whom are Wofford graduates. They're already building an old gold and black foundation for their grandchildren. Stewart and Ann Johnson have responded to Wofford's needs over and over again. They have endowed a professorship in the memory of Ann's brother, Dr. John Cobb. Their names are on the giving list for the majority of capital projects at the college. They have helped fund international travel opportunities for Wofford students. And just over a year ago, we dedicated the Stewart H. Johnson Greek Village. It's named in honor of Stewart because he and his family made the lead gift to the project. Stewart and his family are active partners in the Spartanburg community, extending their generosity throughout this community. Student athletes put in countless hours to prepare for competition. They prioritize and balance their time. They understand teamwork, work ethic, and respect. Now, Stewart may not have snapped a football or dropped a three-pointer for the Terriers when he was a student, but he understands what it means to be part of something larger than himself. And his support now touches every day, every student at Wofford College. So it is with the greatest of Terrier pride that I welcome Stewart as an honorary letterman into the Wofford College Athletics Hall of Fame.
This is quite an honor. When I look at the inductees that are here today, Shirley and Buddy Kirby and Joe Edens, it is truly humbling that I'm among them. Joe Edens, there's 2 things about Joe, and Coach is already gone. I understand that Joe outfished Coach too. Now the coach would never bring that up, but Joe's quite a fisherman. He did. Okay. My wife said, "What are you going to talk about up here?" And I said, "Well, the one thing is that what Wofford College has gone through in my 73 years, because I thought I'd be the oldest person here and have been around the longest. My father-in-law is 97, and he went to Citadel, so that doesn't count. But I look up in the audience, and there's Frank Satterfield, and then I looked, and this is true. There's a story around here that when 3 or 4 Terrier Club members are gathered together, there's always Grady Stewart and Harry Williams, and they are here too. Now I don't know how old Grady is, but Harry's about 95 because he jumps out of an airplane on every his birthday. We're glad you're still here too, Harry. But you know, this school in my 73 years, when we used to come over here with my parents and go to the Andrews Field House, and you come into something like this, and if you hadn't ever been in the Andrews Field House, you ought to go down there and look at it. And then come into here and you'd be wowed. The other thing was Snyder Field over here where it's coldest place in the world when the wind's blowing up under that. A street came around here all the way through. And it's just been terribly exciting for me personally to see that this school, how it's grown and grown into what is now an outstanding, and it always has been, but an outstanding school in the Southeast. The people that have come here and stayed here and helped develop this city, and that's what it's all about. As I said, I'm very humble when you call me, Richard, about this award. I was talking to Eric here a few minutes ago, and I said, "Where are you living now?" He said he's in Phoenix. And I said, "Eric, Western North Carolina, cool, Phoenix." He said, "Yeah, I followed a good-looking Wofford girl out there." And I said, "Well, that makes sense." That's also your single most important decision you'll make in your life. And well, I did the same thing when I married my wife 46 years ago, and that's the most important decision I've ever made. As David Brooks the other night, the New York columnist, said when he was leaving, the most important thing you'll do is the person you marry. But again, I've got two things to say, and I'm a little disappointed in the officials here at the college, you too, Richard, the president. There's two things that, one thing that my father said that his uncle told him is that you never miss the money you give to the church. I'll take it a step further. You never miss the money you give to the church or the Terrier Club. Now we've got a group here, and y'all never hit them up for some money, but that's very important. I have my children and 10 of my 11 grandchildren are here, and no, 8 of them, I think. We're missing 3. But I appreciate y'all coming too. Thanks again. It's a wonderful honor, and I'm humbled by it. Thank you very much.
First of all, congratulations to all of today's honorees, justly earned in every case. And I want to take this opportunity to remind us all, the Terrier Club Thank You Hall of Fame Committee, and remember, Wofford wouldn't be at this level when the Southern Conference decided whether or not to admit Wofford and to Division I competition and into the league. They really thought that the Terriers couldn't be competitive, a school at the time of a little over 1,000 students. And the thing that Furman and Davidson and Appalachian and Georgia Southern and others hung our chances on and made their decision on was the strength of the Wofford Terrier Club, which was raising more money then than the similar organizations at those institutions. And they said, that's how they can do it. And I think the results are obvious. As Richard's already alluded to, something justly earned, Buddy and Shirley Kirby as our Distinguished Service Award winners. Buddy grew up right down the road, Drayton Mills. Parents worked in the mill. Entrepreneur from day one, bike route, other enterprises as a child. Service epitomizes him as soon as he graduated from Spartanburg High School, and he played football, baseball, all the sports, was in the marching band. Like a lot of his generation, signed up immediately to go to service for our country, the U.S. Navy in his case, and headed toward the Pacific Ocean for who knows what, service on destroyers, submarines, and more. And on a break from that, he was back home in Spartanburg and meets and falls in love with and marries Shirley, and the rest is sort of history, as they say. After all of that, working his way through Wofford, working his way with Shirley together, attending the college, graduating in 1961, starting to give immediately, a few dollars at a time, and has never stopped. Attended while they were students, as a young children growing up here, Wofford events from day one, have been doing that ever since. No more loyal fan, friend, supporter than the Kirbys. Buddy worked for Spartanburg Regional Hospital System and then founded his own, again, that entrepreneurial spirit, medical coding company in 1980. Eventually sold it in the early aughts, and Wofford was a beneficiary of his generosity during that time in significant ways with a major endowed scholarship. Shirley was his partner all along the way, contributor to all of that. His son, Kim, is here, a graduate. Gail, his daughter, all Wofford fans, friends, and supporters. Service to his country, to his community, to his church, to his family. Shirley, service to Wofford College from day one, continuing, and no better fanship for the Wofford Terriers. Young men here, they saw you play all your games, and for literally decades and decades. It's an honor to present our Distinguished Service Award to Buddy and Shirley Kirby. Congratulations.
Thank you, David. Richard, this is a great honor for me. Have my family sitting on you, and I'll make it. It's nice seeing so many of you I never recognized by face. Don't recognize every name, but I do know Miss Staten. Dr. Wood did a great job on the introduction. Thank you so much. Wofford has meant a lot to me, and it started when I was about the age of his children, about 8 years old. I got to come over here and play basketball on the old court that we're talking about. But I thought it was great at that time. But the thing about it is that we played basketball with a boxing glove on one hand. And if you like to shoot basketball, you put the boxing glove on your left hand where you could shoot. And anybody that caught the ball on the opposite team, you could hit them and hit them and hit them and hit them. So it was really a halftime show, but I enjoyed it, and still to this day I think about the boxing glove thing. As David said, I grew up not a short distance from the ball field. You can look over and see some of the smokestacks, and had a great life. My next year, I found about sports. I love sports, and thought I'd try my luck at getting into a football game. And Wofford was playing Newberry. And Newberry had a guy, and nobody here knows this, I could be telling anything with this, but they had a guy named Slingshot Whip. Now, he could sling it. Well, how I got in, I noticed at that time at the ticket office is a bunch of trees and canes and things like that. And I had a dime, and we talked about my entrepreneurial spirit. At 9 years old, I wanted to keep that dime. So it didn't take me long to skinny over the fence, and then there's a lot of little small trees around. And I found as the people start walking through the gate over to the visitor side, I just fell in with them as they walked. And it was an evening game, and man, it was cold. And I was dressed about like this young man is, didn't have a long sleeve shirt on. Didn't need one when I left home. But man, it started getting cold. And one of the Newberry ladies said, oh, look at that little fellow there. He's freezing. I'm going to put my coat on him. And she did. And I felt good about that. But it wasn't long. Someone was talking about Sammy Sewell today. Sammy happened to hand the ball off. Sammy took off and made a touchdown. And man, I'm jumping up and down, hollering at what saying, give me my coat back. So I've had a lot of excitement with Wofford in the ball games and things like this, and Shirley and I both enjoy them very much, and we appreciate the coaches and the athletic department. And I did graduate from Wofford. Matter of fact, in 3.5 years, I had things to do. I had to get out and go. But I appreciate all the kind words that Dr. Wood had to say, and being up here with this nice, wonderful group of fellas. I'd like to see you without your helmets on. I know who you are now, and I basketball. But thank you so much for this opportunity, and Shirley and I and my family look forward to it, and look forward to a great game tonight. Go Terriers.
Thank you, buddy. we're going to, this week, we're going to cut those trees down by the ticket booths. We need that revenue. This is an extraordinary group of people up here. 4 athletes inducted into their first year of eligibility, which is just unusual, and 4 so deserving. And our honorary award winners, our Distinguished Service Award winners, our Honorary Lettermen, just amazing. And just to echo what Joe said and what Stewart said about the things that Wofford has been able to achieve and from where we've come from, and its leadership at the presidential level, its leadership at the board level, its leadership with the Terrier Club. Many of you don't know Harry Williams, who was a good personal friend of Ben Wofford's. I wasn't going to let you get away, Harry, without saying that. But Harry, Grady, all the people from so many years ago that have gone into making this place what it is. And to give you just a quick example of that, just this last week, in just a few short years as president, Dr. Sam Hatt has been appointed to the NCAA's board of directors. So he will be one of those.